afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, August 6, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call tomorrow night a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. My assistant's working as fast as she can to accommodate people, assist them with the iRevive, and so they can get going and get a hold of it and start using it. We're going to talk a lot of things about for TFCC, where we're at, what's going to happen, and where are we going to go from there. Once we choose to learn to stay out of the way of the ego-mind process, it's there. And just allow it to move through us without getting in our own way. As we all know, this planet and the surface population is just super controlled by ego-mind. And this is why so many things occur. Now, when we add on top of that a bicameralism mode, then we really got a sticky wicket. And how do you know that? See, people say, well, give me an example. Well, I used the vaccine rush that went on a few years back with this engineered, made-up virus. And how many people didn't question or probe or demand ingredients? Is there anything in there that's harm? Have you tested it? Is it safe? And then actually have the documentation. Nobody really did that. And the leadership guided everybody to line up and to get the vaccine. And like I said, 5.7 billion people did that on this planet. Now we got about 8.5 billion. But roughly. That's a prime example. Once we understand, this is a lesson and a teaching for all of us. Once we understand that these combinations of things breed the structure, infrastructure, society that we have right now. It's like, have you ever come across people where you connect with, where you can sit and talk with hours? Talk with them for hours, they can be a complete stranger. The reason that is because so many of us are starved for being on the same plane of understanding, of comprehension. People seeing similar, understanding a lot of the things that you understand, comprehend, and being able to discuss it and interact with it. More and more people are starting to identify, and I get this in letters, but they're starting to identify the fact that, the people that they thought were nuts, they're now coming to those people, and they're saying, all that stuff you were telling me, I really did think you were crazy, but now it's beginning to happen. And see, a lot of you, relatives and friends and acquaintances and stuff, the people that thought you were, somewhere out there, are seeing this, what's happening, transpire on the planet, here in our country. And they're waking up, at least to the point of understanding, that, you were right about that. I mean, you got that, the stuff you told me, and I had that happen to me. I don't talk to many people where I'm at, but a few. And one gentleman said to me, he said, everything you were sharing with me a year and a half ago is happening. You know? Businesses in the tens of thousands going out of business. Been in business 10, 15 years. The American people are strapped in hyperinflation. And, pricing has just gotten completely out of hand. Then you have job losses. And then you have these storms starting up. And then you have threat of global thermonuclear war. So all these things, all combinations. Now, a bicameral would believe all that. Okay? A bicameral, one who's in bicameral mode would understand that. They would believe it. You don't believe it because you know it is absolutely made up. You go into a movie, or, you watch anything. You look at the old war movies, the black and white ones and stuff, with Robert Mitchum and John Wayne and stuff like that. And you see the explosions and the bomb and the people bleeding and dying and getting shot. And it looks real. Even way back then it looked real. So imagine to yourself that there's no picture screen, okay? It's like an IMAX, but even more expensive. And you're sitting there watching it. And it really is, you're, oh man, this looks really real. Is this really a movie or is it real? Now, the bicamerals of the planet will believe it's real. You will know it's a movie. And when you look at it, when you start to realize that it never happened. It never will. Not anymore. Okay. Firing nuclear missiles and wiping out cities and millions of people is just not going to happen. And I believe those that are aware know that in their heart minds. They're not stressing and fracturing and fearing. They're focused on the new earth. They're focused on what they want. They're focused on things that will heal them, things that will rejuvenate them, regenerate them, so their quality of life increase, and they get more and more acclimated to the new technologies as the new technologies are revealed to them. This is a celebratory thing. Not to say that we all know that to a certain extent that it's not going to be a smooth transition. We all know that. And we're not sitting there conjuring up, doom and gloom at all. It's just that we know that the transition is going to be rough. For many, just in our country, not including the rest of our brothers and sisters all over the planet. And you still have the vying on the surface of the planet of, the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies that are still doing all this, trying to get things where they want them so that they can continue to keep this a slave planet. And we're moving out of slavedom, which is absolutely spectacular because of the fact we've been in it from the beginning. When these bodies were first created, and I'm not talking about the human bodies on this planet, right? We really didn't. These bodies were designed for this planet, but they did not originate from this planet. They were placed here to receive the soul. Now, things got twisted and everything, and we just fell into slavedom. But all this is for reason. There's reasons for it. The reasons is that we learned. And we're going to learn a whole lot more. and experience a whole lot more. That's because we're real curious creatures. We're very curious. We really want to know. Not only do we want to know, we want to know the real truth of things. We know, and we're very receptive to the fact that about 99.9% of all the things on the internet are false. They're not true. All the things on the television are not true. All the governments are not true. In fact, many things that we believe and have been programmed to believe that they're true are not true. So if you could, this is a good thing. The reason it's a good thing is that, okay, so we identify that and we comprehend it. So that's kind of, we just say, okay, just wash this away. You look at it all. You don't run from it. You give it a big embrace and hug, and then it dissipates and it's gone. Now, you look toward a higher frequency existence. You do know that love and kindness, generosity and humbleness with yourself, and then of course with others, is what you want. You're not interested in financial difficulties. You've had those. Relationship disruptions. You've had those. What people think, what people say, what people do. All of that stuff that comes from the social structure on this planet. And so you're not interested in that anymore. You've experienced it, we all have for so long, many lifetimes. So doesn't it make sense that we're moving into a spiritual comprehension, that we're evolving at such a high level? This is a huge evolution. It's massive. It's unprecedented. And when you step in and you know that you're there with New Earth, how do you know you're there? Well, your mind chatter will be gone. We all have that. And over 60,000 thoughts estimate that play back over and over again every day with us. They're not our thoughts. None of them are our thoughts. That's the mind chatter. The ego mind will no longer be, you will no longer be the slave to the ego mind. It will be your servant. Until it's no longer needed, it realizes it's in total peace, like I have said. This is New Earth. This is what's forming. Now how is it forming? Because of our intent, subconsciously or consciously, more and more of us are focusing on what we want. More and more of us are knowing that we can fall into meditation. We can relax into the body. We can be in a super comfortable position with no outside interference. And we can be as still as a statue and just focus on our breath rising and falling. That's it. That's meditation. And the more you do that, the more you move deeper within you. I think some people try way too hard. They try to force things and push it and accelerate things. You don't have to do anything but what I just suggested. And you choose to do it. We are no longer going to be embraced with fear, anger, frustration, revenge, manipulation, dishonesty. There won't be any motivating factor. If you don't have any fear, when you don't have fear, which starts just as a thought anyway, and it comes from the ego mind. But when you have these things, we've experienced them many times. And as you increase your vibrational frequency, you begin to master things within you. Low vibrational frequency, you just never will. You never will. But when you can you see it, see, you're watching all this. And you're kind of picking and choosing. And right in this very now moment, the life that you're experiencing, where your thoughts are, where your heart mind's at, how you are feeling with yourself, and you've seen and experienced this third dimensional frequency, Earth, and you're feeling within the heart mind a huge surge of highly energetic light frequency that is not only within you but outside of you. And the actual landscape and reveal of the new Earth is just beginning. Old Earth, you would not be hearing about any of these technologies, really, at all. They would make sure that you believed that they were just a fantasy dream. But you're hearing about them. And slowly but surely, you'll be able to physically have access with them. And the way that we've done things on this planet in 3D Earth is what? It's archaic. When you start discovering how really advanced we are. How really advanced we are. Because there's a lot of people questioning things. And here in this country, and the other countries, what you're talking about is your thing is that you want something. You want something. There's something that is of high priority for you in life. There's something, all of us, there's something that we desire. Not continual outside of us, but within. And so we began to create an existence of high frequency because that's what we've chosen to do. That's what's happening. Now, many don't realize the power that they have. Where you see these storms that are happening, those are engineered storms, by the way. And there was one time, believe it or not, where Florida never got storms. And it's history. Never got storms. Never was pounded on or anything. So these engineered storms that dumping, 3 feet of rain in some areas, and it's on our eastern coast of this continent. And there's people that are doing this. You can focus on what you don't want, or what you do want, not what you don't want. And people will look at it and say they don't want that to happen. They don't want that to happen, instead of saying what they want to have happen is those storms to dissipate and the rain to dissipate. So how do you do that? How does little old you do that? It's easy. It's not tough. It really isn't tough. You understand that the way we have structured this planet and its atmosphere is that the further you go up in the upper atmosphere, the colder it gets. And at about 42,000, maybe 42 to 48,000 feet, it's about 72 degrees below zero. Now, and then you see the storm. And the storm, it gains energy from where? Warm water. Okay? You do have to have some coolness to make it all work. So it's warm water. It builds and builds and builds into a tropical storm. And eventually it gets so much power that it becomes a hurricane. And of course they categorize it on its devastation levels. So how do you dissipate that? You do it in meditation. Okay? You visualize it. You could get it. You get the radar shots. It gives you an idea of its mass and what it's doing. Then you see the ocean. And in the meditation, you focus on doing what? Having the vortex air, the super cold air, in a spindle that goes straight down into the center of the storm. And as it goes down, it expands out in a 360-degree circle. It just starts to wave out. As it does this, it begins to weaken the energies or the forces within that storm. And in eventuality, it dissipates to the point where it is just a lot of rain out in the ocean. And not, devastating the coastline of North America. We can all do that. But what's the kicker there? Why don't we? Well, we know why. We don't have the confidence in ourselves, we don't have the faith in ourselves, and we don't have the trust in ourselves, nor this universe. And so what that does is it blocks our power and our focus because we don't believe it. It's just because we've been programmed that way. We just don't believe it. Oh, that's silly. You're crazy. That can't happen. Well, when you doubt, you eliminate the life force from coming in. You stop it. And it's constant, too, to all of us. But we stop it through doubt, lack of faith, lack of trust. We have successfully eliminated major storms on this planet over the past. We've been doing it for, 3, 4, 5, 600 years. And remember, it's not about the ego mind. You get into the ego mind, you're dead in the water with being able to do that. It isn't difficult. You focus on it and the rest is history. And what are you really doing? Well, you're helping others not be traumatized. And then you don't assume anything. Don't assume anything. Don't speculate anything. Because usually it'll be off base and wrong. It's real simple. Your intent and your focus of your power is to eliminate these storms from being harmful. They can still be beneficial. Remember, where there's good, there's bad, and where there's bad, there's good. So the storms are beneficial as moisture, right? Cleanses the air, that type of thing. And that's why you hear me keep repeating, it's all about you. It's all about you discovering who and what you are within that body. It's all about you. It's about you embracing who and what you are. Not what you think you are, but who and what you really are. And once all that crap and garbage is out of the way from the ego mind, and you spend most of your time in the heart mind, you'll see it. Hey, we got a storm coming in. Oh, okay. Let's dissipate it. It's not there. Hurricanes, tornadoes, all that stuff. And this is the beginning. once we comprehend that and facilitate it, then the limitations have been lifted on all of our abilities. It's just been, the limitations have been disintegrated, which we created through our programming, limiting ourselves to aspire, advance, and never stop growing. See, because the way it is now, we're convinced that we have to leave these bodies between, whatever year range, and that's it. What do you think you'll be like when you know you can be in that body, stay young for 5,000 years? It's a whole different ball game. And we're creating it, along with a photon energy field that, or belt, whatever you want to call it, that is highly charged light particles, of which the gods that we are inside these bodies are made up of. It's like, you've heard me talk about the technology that Michael Thomas introduced to this planet, and that's photon light energy. That's what we are. That's why in eventuality, all of us will be able to heal our bodies just by thought. And we focus on this. Why? It needs to be focused on. We can no longer allow ourselves to be distracted into the lower vibrational frequencies. Our focus and direction is into higher vibrational frequencies. Loving yourself deeply and eternally, accepting and embracing all parts of you, focusing on meeting with the God that you are within the body, the pure consciousness. Being at peace all the time. All the time. And shining through with the very power that you truly are. You will use, through the heart-mind, not because the ego will be gone, you'll use your power to make sure everything is safe and everyone is safe, continuously. We will not need, because of this transition, because of this evolution, we will not need space forces to patrol our outer space. Now you understand that this is a huge evolution, so we'll all be on the same page. There won't be this huge, miscombobulated mess. Because in total reality of the only thing that's real is us, the gods that we are. We created this planet. We created the storms. We created all this stuff. The people that create the storms, who do you think created them? And you see, none of us are separate from all this that's going on. We watch it. We know enough not to engage with it. We watch it and we learn. We experience it. We watch it. Can't watch it with the ego mind without judging and getting involved with it and stressed, and then all that suffering comes in. That's when you go into the ego mind. And until those of us who choose discover who and what we are truly, love ourselves always, Be in deep gratitude always. And be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself always. What happens when you fight fire with fire? It's bigger, doesn't it? When you use one energy identical to the other energy, it gets bigger, it gets more powerful. It's like anything that may agitate you during this process that's going on our planet. You'll have a choice in which direction to move in. You're going to move in to the irate, frustrated, and angry direction? Well, you've been there before, more than once, more than one lifetime. So you kind of got that down. So then you go, nope, I'm choosing to focus over here. The opposite of that. Now, some of us believe that nothing's going to happen. Everything's going to just kind of unfold and everything's going to be taken care of. We aren't going to have to lift a finger. Some people believe that. Oh, I don't need to get extra this or extra that at the store. I don't need that. That's just all conspiracy theory. That's never going to happen, not in our country. That's why the transition will be bumpy, to say the least, for the people that don't see the way we see. Doesn't make them any different than us, because it's just where they're at in their evolution. And what's the highest form and energy pattern on this planet? Love. Period. Love. Love for oneself and all that you are, and love for everything else. I had one person say to me that they had this neighbor they couldn't stand. They've been living there next to each other for 20 years. Over, 20-some years. And you'd get an itchy feeling every time you got around each other. Now, why is that? Kind of made their lives not too good, when their lives could have been spectacular. So when you have that, and you view that person, that being, you realize that they have a God within them, just like you. And neither of you are separate. You're one. Remember the golden drop in the ocean. The golden drop holds the essence of that ocean. And then it drops back into the ocean. It becomes the ocean. This is how we will evolve to love everyone and everything. I know that sounds really far out there for some. Their minds are too small of a container to comprehend it. But that's where we're going. And then the quiet time of this meditation, focus on that. See it. Visualize it in your heart-mind. Comprehend it. Because as you do that, you're forming it. And do not falter. See, ego mind's there still, remember? So it's not unusual for any of us to falter. We and then we say something and it's a doubt. And why do we have doubt? Why do we have doubt? With ourselves, with everything around us. Because we don't comprehend who and what we really are. What would happen for you? You're just randomly, doing whatever. And you focus on something, right? That you want. Now, in the back of you, there's this kind of a little vibrational frequency called a voice. It's not really a voice, but that's how we describe it. Then our voice communicates with you. It says, what are you doing? This isn't going to happen. Are you crazy? Where do you think that's going to come from? Doubt comes in. And then guess what? It's a wash. Now, when you focus and you're in meditation, you're in that space of relaxing into the body, focusing on the breath rising and falling, as still as a statue, and you send out a thought to the universe. You send a thought out from the heart mind through the ego mind. Okay? So the ego mind's not in charge. And you say, well, whatever it is. And when you come out of meditation and open your eyes, there it is. Now, if you did this, now the doubt and the ego mind comes in and says, oh, it's just a lark, it's a coincidence, blah, 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 blah. But if you embrace that and through the heart mind, you start to realize that, well, then I can manifest anything I want. But at first, you're not going. It's going to be like, okay, let's see if I can do it again. There's the doubt. If I can do it again. So you go through the same process and you ask for something, you do it again. You go, wow, this is getting interesting. So then you say, okay, we'll try it a third time. We'll do it a third time. You do it a third time, there it is. Now, what do you believe how you're going to go from there? Now, remember, you're not ego-minded. You are heart-minded. This is what I suggest you focus on in the quiet time of this meditation. Okay? This is what I suggest you focus on. Because here it is. If you don't believe it within you, it will not be. It's just not going to be. For you, someone else would believe in certain perspectives and manifest. The reason we're talking about this is that this is going to be part of New Earth. You will manifest what you desire. I had someone say, well, isn't that that's like the broad range replicator? Yeah. But not all the way yet. Because remember, that's a training wheel for the civilization. Training wheels. But you will get to the point that you choose to follow within you, to meet the God that you are, to comprehend that you are the God, you are source creator. You are the heaven. You are heaven on earth. The body is the earth. The heaven is you, the God, or the pure consciousness within that body. See, this is expanding, and for some it's tough because of how they've been programmed. But this is our natural state of being, to be massive creators of everything. I mean, goodness gracious, collectively, we could terraform this whole planet in perfect harmony. No deserts. We don't need deserts. What do we need deserts for? We don't. Just a beautiful paradise. Now remember, we got 1% of life left on this planet. 99% has been eliminated. And I know that blows people away, but can you imagine what this planet will be like with New Earth? It will be absolutely spectacular, diamond-esque, magna glorious. And who's creating it? You are. All of it. Collectively, with our power as the gods that we are, that's what we're doing. All this other stuff, this running around and fretting and fearing, is ego mind. And there are those that will do that. We love them deeply and dearly. That's what they're going to do. They're learning. We've all been there. And we're coming out of it. Not all of us. Some will probably reincarnate so many more lifetimes until they get to that comprehension, so that they begin to really decipher it on who and what they are. So in the quiet private time of this meditation, focus on that. Remember, you're source creator. You're the creator. There isn't one power out there separate from you. You are the power. We all are. So figure that out. We combine our focus without interruption, without false presentation, representation, being an ego minder, but being, instead of a heart minder, we're ego minder most of the time, we choose to become heart minders. You could walk up to somebody in the near future and go, it's not labeling, it's being able to comprehend how you're interacting. Are you a heart minder? No, I'm mostly in the ego mind still. And see, this isn't you're a bad thing or that. No, it's identifying that. And it's through total honesty, which means that they are beginning to move into the heart mind. So it's not an issue. Okay, type of thing. All of you are moving into heart-mindedness more and more every day. And you're going to continue to do that because you know why? Because it feels good. It feels a lot different than moving into ego-mindedness. And how do we know it? Because we can compare. Because we've been there so long. I'll join you in meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Focus on your breath rising and falling. When you cannot find any love, train your body to then train your body to relax deeper into itself until the mind gets quiet. Do not try to keep on looking outside of yourself for the causes and solutions to your inner struggle. Feel your struggle and get to know it more intimately. Ask it questions such as, what do you need right now to feel safe and relaxed with this life? Do this one thing today and you will be surprised how quickly things change. Soon, you will feel as if you have arrived back home at the infinite source of self-love and reconnection. Let your inner struggle fully come into your entire being until you implode from the inside. These struggling parts are just wanting to learn how to relax and rest deeper into the infinite source of divinity of which you are. It's all happening inside you. It's not happening outside. What's happening inside of you is what's creating all this around you. Now it is the time to bring all your inner orphan parts home. Call them in. And the welcoming party is going to be so good. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. And we will return here Wednesday, August 7, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. And a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our Time for Change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's happening around you or within you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.